Alright, so I am recording now, but so yeah, I'm gonna talk about my death build. I'm also streaming as well, so uh take a look at this Twitch channel below, blah blah blah, stuff like that. Okay, so um the video that I saw on YouTube about the Death and Storm builds is very outdated. The guy has like 190 on both schools, and his pet is just a bunch of accuracy talents. And I think this was before Aeon had the change where it comes with Power Pip. When it comes with Power Pip instead of Shad rating. So this is definitely different now. This build's definitely different. So for the helmet, I'm using Aeon. You know, basic helmet here, using Storm damage and some Pierce here. You could obviously replace with Storm Crit instead. And for the shield socket, put whatever you want. I don't have any resist shield sockets because I'm just unlucky. So just put whatever you want on that. But yeah, it's the helmet. For the robe, I use Nightmare here. Now you can use Aeon, but Nightmare's just better in every single way, in my opinion. So yeah, you want to use Nightmare if you can. Just that resist is really nice. And the health and damage and stuff. So Nightmare is just the best to use. For the boots, I'm using the Aeon boots. It's just really good. 42 damage on boots is ridiculous. For death, I don't know why this is in here, but it is. And I'm using Storm Pins again. As usual, I have one crit there and one pierce there. And my build, I don't need a second accuracy jewel from Racapier, or whatever her name is, the penguin boss. I don't need it. I have 35 exactly to Storm, which is all you need. So if you don't have some of the stuff like the amulet, the Mastery Amulet, then you do need it. So do farm from 2, but for now I don't need it. So yeah. One, I'm using Merciless. You can use Aeon. Aeon's just better. I just don't have it yet. But the only difference between it is like 10 crit on both and a little bit more pip conserve. So it doesn't give you any extra damage or pierce or anything. So either or will work out in this scenario. For the Athame, I'm using the Aeon Athame. Now, I have 2 Athames here. I have one that uses Storm Pierce, and I have one that does Death Pierce. Now, the reason why I have more Storm Pierce in this than Death Pierce is because I have low resist. I have 41 resist, and if I use any spell, like for instance Dark Pack, it pierces all of my resist, and I have 0, and I take like 1,000 damage every single time I use this. Because of 200% damage, so it definitely hurts like a bitch. So I replaced it, so at least I have a little resist when I smack myself in the head with it, but you could use either or. So for instance, I have one with Storm here, and I have one with Death, and I'm using 7-act Jewel instead of a specific school Jewel, so I can get perfect accuracy for lore spells as well for both schools here, for both schools. Now the amulet, I'm using this one. This is like the best one to get. It gives 5 act to Storm and 5 damage. Now you can use Exalted Storm Amulet here. This works with this build because Storm is just, you know, Storm's a lot of damage on this stuff, so you can use this and be fine. However, you need one of these 2 in order to hit 200 damage. If you have the others, you will not hit 200 damage. You will hit 199 damage. So yeah, that's a little annoying, but you need one of these. Now, if you don't have this one and you have this one, you will need a farm for that 7-act Jewel from the boss in order to get 100% with lore spells. Now, for the ring, we're using the Aeon ring here. I have Death Pierce on this with some stun. You know, you can do whatever you want on that square socket with some health. You know, it's just the Aeon ring. You can also put Storm Pierce in this if you want as well, if you want more Storm Pierce for some reason. But, yeah. Now, before I show the pet, I'll show the deck. I have this deck, which is from the pack. It's ridiculous how, in this game, unless I'm incorrect here in the statement, chat can correct me, there is no other triangle socket deck in this game other than this in rating. So, I don't know why they have this locked behind a paywall. It's really annoying that it's locked behind a paywall, because none of these Aeon decks give triangle. None of them give triangle. So I don't understand why that's the case. So obviously I use this. If you have the Nullity deck, it's probably just, it's fine. but I use this because it gives the most amount, I believe, of Arch Mastery out of all the decks. Because every single time I enter in a battle with people, I always get my pip first. So, if you have crowns to spend, you have to get this deck. I don't think there's any other way to get it other than opening packs, which is really annoying. But, yep. So that's what I use, and I use a 16% Jewel. Anything lower than this, you have to get another actual. So, just a fair warning. Now for the mount, I'm using the Fossil Avenger set here to get the 5% damage to both schools from the pet. You need this. Without this, you will not be able to hit 200 on both schools. And for the pet, I have this Abomination. Ghosty calls it the worst pet he's ever made. But I do appreciate him for helping me out make this pet. So, it gives Storm and Death damage. Now, for the sockets, you don't even need the bonus stat sockets. My damage is 204 Storm and 205 Death. So, technically, you could replace this with Spellproof. You can replace this with the Bringer Jewel plus Make Cast Faint. You can replace this with any jewel you want, and you'll still hit 200 on both schools. So, for instance, if you get a Spellproof Jewel, putting Spellproof on this might be worth it compared to just getting 3 extra damage to both schools, right? Having 202 Storm damage, having 201 Storm damage and 202 Death damage might be better, and have 51 resist, right? So you could definitely get Proof Jewel on this if it's, better for you, right? You don't need stat boosting for this one. So, these are the stats. Ta-da! Here we go. As you can see, I got 204 Storm damage. Yeah, that's a lot. I got 205 Death damage. Ridiculous. Now, by the way, before I press this anything, this is for PvE only. Don't run this shit in PvP. It's not gonna work. Just run it. It's PvE only, okay? I'll probably put that in the title too so people don't get confused. But, I have that. I have 41 resist, 35 hack, which is what you need for the spells, the 65% spells, the lore spells, and 21, which is what you need for the death lore spells, because that's 80%. If there were 75, let's just say I probably wouldn't be able to cast them. Let's just say they're 80, so you can cast them. I'm just really, really lucky that they're only 80%, because, damn. They're 75, this would not work. But, yeah, that's the build. And then for the secondary stats, I have 401 here, 628 crit, 602 block to all schools. And I also have 32 pierce for this, and 24 pierce for Storm. Now, if you want more crit, get rid of all the pierce jewels here, the punishing pins, and replace it with crit. That would be around 700 crit. A little more 700 crit, so you can do that if you want to run no pierce on this thing. Probably be the ideal setup is to run all crits and just have Storm Pierce, right? So for instance, if I remove 6 here, I can put it as Storm Pierce. So you'd get kind of even on both, but I don't have those pins. So if you want a better, probably be better just to get more crit pins than pierce pins. Because 401 crit's not a lot. So you can get up to 700 crit if you get all critical pins. And then my pip conserve doesn't really matter. I mean, I have 700 on my death, and wow, 1% on my storm doesn't matter because I have that extra power slot, so I can put whatever I want in there. 102 power pip, and then I have 192 arch mastery, and of course no shadow reading here. So yeah, that's the build. Pretty self-explanatory. Now I'm gonna go work on another build. Oh.